Klammer Schala Fokusstrategie Montag, 17. Januar 2022. So, the accused is thus guilty of a crime against humanity. Counts 2 to 4, forcible sexual intercourse with F. Counts withdrawn at the prosecutor's request. Counts 6, 7, 10, and 11. Killings, beatings, and sexual mutilation in Omarska. Accused not guilty of murder. Accused guilty of cruel treatment and inhuman acts. 1. As to the beating of Emir Beganovic and Senad Muslimovic, the trial chamber is satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that the accused was one of the men who severely beat them. 2. As to the beatings of the Emir Karabasic, Yasmin Hernic, and Enver Alic, the trial chamber is further so satisfied that the accused was present on the hangar floor when the three victims were called out and attacked, that the accused attacked Yasmin Hernic with a knife, took part in the attack upon and the beating of Emir Karabasic, and took part in the beating of Yasmin Hernic. 3. As the assault upon the sexual mutilation of Fikret Harambasic, the trial chamber is satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused was on the hangar floor on this occasion, but is not satisfied that he took any active part in the assault and the mutilation. However, regarding the totality of the acts charged in this paragraph on the indictment, the trial chamber finds that the accused in some instances was himself the perpetrator, and in others intentionally assisted directly and substantially in the common purpose of inflicting physical suffering upon them, and thereby aided and abetted in the commission of the crimes, and is therefore individually responsible for each of them. The trial chamber thus finds beyond reasonable doubt that the accused is guilty as charged in count 10. In brackets, cruel treatment, closed brackets. And count 11, again in brackets, inhuman acts, close bracket. 4. As to the alleged deaths of Fikret Harambasic, Emir Karabasic, Yasmin Hernic, and Enver Alic, which it is said resulted from the assaults upon them, the trial chamber notes that the prosecutor failed to elicit clear and definitive evidence from witnesses about the condition of the 4 prisoners after they had been assaulted, and to establish beyond reasonable doubt that any of these 4 prisoners died from injuries received in the assaults made on them in the hangar. 5. The trial chamber finds that the accused guilty of a violation of the laws and customs of war for his participation in the beatings and other grievous acts of violence inflicted on Enver Alic, Emir Karabasic, Yasko Hernic, Senad Muslimovic, Fikret Harambasic, and Emir Beganovic, none of whom were taking part in the hostilities. Further, it finds the accused guilty of a crime against humanity, the beatings and other acts of violence which were suffered by the 6 victims were committed during an armed conflict as part of a widespread or systematic attack on civilian population. The accused intended for discriminatory reasons to inflict severe damage to the victims' physical and human dignity. Counts 13 and 14 beating of Sefik Sivac in Omarska, accused guilty. 1. The chamber finds beyond reasonable doubt that Sefik Sivac was beaten and that the accused was part of the group that threw Sefik Sivac onto the floor after he had been beaten, and that Sefik Sivac later died from these injuries. 2. However, there is no direct testimony that the accused was present during the beating of Sefik Sivac, but the trial chamber finds that there is evidence that the accused intentionally assisted directly and substantially in the common purpose of the group to inflict severe suffering upon Sefik Sivac. 3. The trial chamber finds the accused guilty of a violation of the laws and customs of war, in brackets, cruel treatment on a prisoner who did not take active part in the hostilities, close brackets, and of a crime against humanity, bracket, inhuman act committed during an armed conflict as part of a widespread and systematic attack on a civilian population and intended for discriminatory reasons to inflict severe damage to the victim's physical integrity and human dignity, close brackets. Counts 16 and 17. Beatings at Omarska, accused guilty. 1. The trial chamber is satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that the accused severely beat and kicked Hakia Elezovic and severely beat Sali Elezovic. 2. The trial chamber finds the accused guilty of a violation of the laws and customs of war, brackets, cruel treatment of two Muslims, neither of whom were taking active part in the hostilities, close brackets, and of a crime against humanity, open brackets, inhuman act committed during an armed conflict as part of a widespread, etc. See above, close bracket. Counts 19 and 20. Abuse of prisoners in Omarska. Accused not guilty. 1. As to the allegations that the accused was a member of a group of Serbs beating prisoners and forcing them to drink water from the ground like animals, the accused was not named by the prosecution's witness as part of the group. 2. As to the allegation that the accused discharged the contents of a fire extinguisher into the mouth of a man in a barrow, two factual deficiences. Deficiencies. Deficiencies. Two factual deficiencies in the prosecution case have been exposed. No evidence has been furnished of such discharge, and the prosecution has failed to establish that the man, in brackets, in the barrow, close bracket, was alive. 3. The trial chamber finds the accused not guilty. No conclusive evidence has been presented linking the accused with the related acts. Counts 22 and 23. Beating and abuse of Haze Ičić in Omarska. Accused guilty. 1. The trial chamber finds beyond reasonable doubt that the accused was part of a group of Serbs who beat and kicked Haze Ičić until he was unconscious. 2. For the acts committed in the context of the armed conflict, the trial chamber finds the accused guilty of a violation of the laws and the customs of war, in brackets, cruel treatment of a Muslim not taking active part in the hostilities, and of a crime against humanity, in brackets, inhuman act committed during an armed conflict as part of a widespread, etc. See above. Counts 25, 26 and 28. Four killings in Kozarats. Accused not guilty. 1. The trial chamber is not satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that the shooting and killing by the accused of the individuals at a kiosk at the corner of Marsala, Tita Street, and the road to Kalate in Kozarats occurred as alleged, or in fact that the shooting did take place. 2. The trial chamber, however, is satisfied that the accused participated in the calling out of people from the moving column. 3. The trial chamber finds the accused not guilty of murder, in brackets, violation of the laws and customs of war. The chamber is not satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt that the 4 persons named were murdered. Further, it finds the accused not guilty of an inhuman act, in brackets, crime against humanity. Although this trial chamber is convinced of the accused's participation in the calling out of people, such participation per se, in the trial chamber's view, cannot patently constitute an inhuman act within the meaning of Article 5 of the Statute, in brackets, crimes against humanity. Counts 30, 31, 33 and 34. 5 killings and 8 beatings in Yaskitsi and Sivci, or Yaskici and Sivci. Accused not guilty of killing, accused not guilty of 4 beatings, accused guilty of 4 beatings. Because there were 8 beatings. 1. As to the alleged killing of 5 men taken from their homes, the trial chamber is satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that the accused was part of the group of Serbs who rounded up the men in the village. But it cannot be satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that the accused had any part in the killing of the 5 men or any of them. Nothing is known as to who shot them or in what circumstances. 2. As to the beatings of Bejdo Balic, Sefik Balic, Ismet Jaskic and Salko Jaskic, the trial chamber satisfied beyond reasonable doubt that the accused took part in the brutal and violent beating. 3. As to the beating of Ilias Elaskovic, Nias Elaskovic, Meho Kenyar and Adam Jakupovic, there is no evidence. 4. The trial chamber then concludes that the accused is not guilty of murder and not guilty of some of the beatings. Where the accused is found guilty of part of the beatings, he is guilty of a violation of the laws and customs of war. In brackets, cruel treatment committed in the context of an armed conflict. And of a crime against humanity, in brackets, inhuman acts committed during an armed conflict as part of a widespread, etc. See above. 3. The accused's defense of alibi. Duško Tadic raised the defense of alibi to teach of the counts charged, claiming he was somewhere else at the time of the alleged acts. He testified under solemn declaration that he had never been to the Omarska or Keraterm camps, nor had he participated in ethnic cleansing in Kozarats. He testified that he had been to Ternopolje on 5 occasions but was never inside the camp. According to the accused, between 23 May and 15 June 1992, he lived with his family in Banja Luka and visited Opština Prijedor only 4 times. Between 15 June and 1st August 1992, he said he worked as a reserve traffic policeman at a traffic checkpoint at Orlovci, close to Prijedor. From 15 August until the 1st November 1992, he said worked in Kozarats as a traffic policeman. On 15 August 1992, he was elected president of the local board of the SDS in Kozarac and appointed as acting secretary of the local commune of Kozarac. On 9 September 1992, he was elected secretary of the local commune, a decision which became effective on 9 November 1992. In its findings of fact, the trial chamber made the following observations on the accused's alibi for the crimes alleged in the various paragraphs of the indictment. Count 1, in brackets. Paragraph 4 of the indictment. The events alleged in this paragraph are said to have occurred at various locations in Obstina Prijedor between 23 May and 31 December 1992, approximately. According to the chamber, the defense assertion that the accused was not in Kozarac at this time cannot be accepted. The evidence of the defense witnesses who happened to be in Kozarac during the attack attests only to their not having seen the accused in Kozarac while they were there. Counts 5 to 11, in brackets, paragraph 6. For the events alleged, the accused relies exclusively on his defense of alibi. He says that on 18 June 1992, when the three events alleged occurred, he was living in Prijedor and working as a traffic policeman. The trial chamber does not accept the accused's account of his whereabouts from 15 June to 17 June 1992. Accordingly, for the incidents alleged in paragraph 6, the accused's checkpoint duty affords no alibi. Counts 12 to 14, in brackets, paragraph 7. For the events alleged in paragraph 7, which occurred on 8, 9 and 10 July 1992, again, for the events alleged in paragraph 7, which occurred on 8, 9 or 10 July 1992, the accused has no specific alibi for the late evening and night of 8 or 10 June 1992. The defense evidence as to off-duty days does no more than establish that the accused was generally resident in Prijedor. The trial chamber rejects the defense contention that the accused was somehow rendered largely immobile because of the fact that he did not own a car. Even if the events alleged took place on the night of 9 July 1992, a night when the records of Orlovtsi checkpoint show him to have been on duty, and even if these records are accepted as accurately reflecting the shifts to which the accused was assigned, they can only establish the hours when the accused was meant to be on duty at the checkpoint. They do not of themselves establish his presence there throughout those hours. Counts 15 to 18, paragraph in brackets, paragraph 8. The chamber finds that if the events alleged in this paragraph occurred in the afternoon of 27 July 1992, as the evidence of Ermin Strikovic states, the accused has no specific alibi. His checkpoint duty at Orlovtsi on that date began at 7 p.m. And if the accused had transport available to him, he would have had ample time during that day to travel to Omarska from Prijedor, carry out the acts alleged, and return in time to take up his checkpoint duties. On the next video, I continue with counts 18 to 20 in brackets, paragraph 9.